So I had to figure out exactly what it was that they were going to be allowed to teach because that's really important. So last year, Texas allowed public schools to hire uncertified religious chaplains as counselors, and the legislature has pushed to require public school classrooms to display the Ten Commandments. Under Texas's proposed revised curriculum, a kindergarten lesson about the Golden Rule, for instance, would prompt instructors to teach students about Jesus' Sermon on the Mount from the Bible's New Testament. The teacher guide for that lesson also mentions Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and other faiths. A first grade unit on sharing stories would teach the parable of the prodigal son from the Bible's New Testament. So, a first grade unit on sharing stories would teach the parable of the prodigal son from the Bible's New Testament. The third grade unit on ancient Rome would feature a section dedicated to the life of Jesus and Christianity in the Roman Empire. And a poetry unit for fifth graders would include Psalms from the Old Testament taught alongside poems from Robert Frost and William Carlos Williams. No other text from religious books would be included in the unit. The proposed materials violate the separation of church and state and the academic freedom of our classroom, but also the sanctity of the teaching profession, said Texas AFT, a union that represents over 60,000 public school educators and support staff across the state. I have so much to say about this because at the very baseline, we must maintain separation of church and state. But I think what a lot of people don't understand is that figures like Jesus and Muhammad and Siddhartha and all of these great religious thinkers, they came onto the scene during the Axial Age and later into the Middle Age, but kind of this transitional period where people started asking the big questions about life and about society and even about money. So what's really interesting about this period of time called the Axial Age is that there are so many wars and atrocities happening at that time, right? There's a lot of bloodshed during this period. And so all of these religious thinkers, all these great thinkers of the time are commenting on what is happening in the world. And they're trying to come up with rules about how to treat one another and how we should govern each other and how debt and taxes should work. Well, I guess we are drinking the Kool-Aid of all those things that they were doing back then, thousands of years ago, because that was the first time that we ever had like widespread social and religious debates that led to a lot of the intellectual paradigms that we have today. And so I don't care that they bring Christianity into the school. Me personally, I don't mind. I think that the Old Testament should be removed because it's a bloody mess.